All right, let's dive in. We're looking at something pretty interesting today. A boot camp that's promising a major career fast track into pharma consulting. It sounds good, but what's really going on here? Let's break it down.
Okay, so before we even touch on what this bootcamp is selling, we need to get on the same page. Let's start with the big question, right? What exactly is a pharma consultant?
So let's tackle that first. What does this job even look like day to day? We're going to define the role and figure out what this career is all about.
Think of it this way. A pharma consultant is basically the bridge. You've got the super complex science of drug development on one side and the cold, hard realities of business and strategy on the other. Their job is to connect those two worlds. It's not just about the lab, and it's not just about the spreadsheets. It's about making them speak the same language.
Okay, that might still sound a little abstract, so let's make it real. Picture this. A company has a brand new diabetes drug. A consultant gets called in. First thing they do, they size up the competition. Then they figure out all the potential roadblocks and, the hidden opportunities. After that, they come up with a pricing strategy that makes sense. And finally, they draw up the entire battle plan for launching it into the market. They're literally building the roadmap to get that drug from the lab into the hands of patients.
All right, so now we know what the job is, but let's be honest. The big question is, why would you want to do it? Well, this next part gets right to the heart of the appeal. We're talking career growth and, of course, the money.
And this right here is a big part of the sales pitch. The idea is to compare pharma consulting against the more, let's say, traditional pharma jobs, like quality assurance or manufacturing. And the claims are pretty bold. They're talking a bigger paycheck, a chance to see more of the industry instead of being stuck in one little corner. And a big one for a lot of people, more flexibility with things like working from home.
And they don't stop there. The argument is that this isn't just any job. It's one of the fastest growing fields out there and one of the highest paying. And see how it all connects? The work is mostly desk-based, heavy on the research side, which is exactly why they can promise that kind of work-from-home flexibility.
Okay, the career sounds pretty good, I get it. But how do you actually break in? How do you get your foot in the door? And that brings us to the main event here, the boot camp. Let's peel back the curtain and see what their how-to guide is all about.
So, what are you actually getting for your money? Well, the core of it is about 7 to 10 live sessions, all on weekends. And, a nice touch, they record everything so you can go back and rewatch. You also get the usual stuff like PDF notes, templates, reading lists, and a pretty interesting perk, a private WhatsApp group for networking and getting job alerts.
Now, this is where they claim it gets really hands-on. They're not just talking theory. You're going to be working through case studies in some of the hottest areas right now, like oncology and digital health. And more importantly, they say they'll teach you the actual tools you'd use on the job. Everything from Excel and Power BI for data to the hardcore research databases like PubMed and clinicaltrials.gov.
But, skills are one thing. Getting hired is another. And it looks like they've thought about that. The program includes workshops to get your resume looking sharp and sessions specifically for prepping you for those tough interviews. They even offer mock interviews as an option, which honestly is a great way to get comfortable with being in the hot seat.
A course can have all the bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to who's teaching it. So, who is leading this thing and what makes them qualified to teach you all this?
So here's their main selling point on that front. The instructor is apparently an alumnus of NIPR, a really well-respected institute in India, and here's the key part, they are currently working at a pharma consulting firm. The message is clear. You're not learning from an academic, you're learning from someone who's actually doing the job right now.
And this quote really says it all, doesn't it? The big promise is that you're going to get real-world insights. You'll learn exactly how projects get done in the real world, inside these big companies. It's the classic insider knowledge pitch. This isn't stuff you'll find in a textbook.
All right, so we've got the what, the why, and the how. Now it's time for the part everyone's always waiting for. How much does it cost? Let's dive into the details of this special founding batch offer.
So to really make their offer pop, they first set the scene. They claim that a typical course like this on the market could run you up to 15,000 rupees. So keep that number in your head.
Because here's the kicker. The price for their founding batch, just 999 rupees. I mean, that's a massive price drop. It's a textbook marketing move, right? Lure in that first group with a huge discount. So you're probably thinking, what's the catch? Well, it's scarcity. They're only opening it up to 25 people. The official reason is so they can give everyone personal attention, which makes sense, but it also creates that feeling of exclusivity.
And to top it all off, the clock is ticking.
They've put a clear timeline on it. Registration is open, the course starts on a specific date, September 20th, and they've got that little nudge in there. Seats are filling fast. It's all designed to get you to act now.
So, what do you do if you're interested? The call to action couldn't be simpler. You just send a DM with one word: consulting. That's it. No complicated forms, no long URLs to type.
And really, this final line sums up the whole thing perfectly. They're not just selling a course. They're selling an advantage, a chance to get a career edge before anyone else. It's all about that competitive spirit, about getting a head start.
So when you take a step back and look at this whole thing, it leaves us with a really interesting question. Not just about this one boot camp, but for the entire pharma industry. Are these kinds of intense, insider-led programs becoming the new fast track? Is this the future of breaking into these high-level careers? It's definitely something to think about.